Persuadable. What's going on? All right. So we have an awesome buff coming our way. I really like this. It's the Explorer's buff. If you don't know, I've had an S badge with Explorer. I upload content on my Instagram all the time of when I play with him and when I'm fucking with hunters. I really like this buff. You can see it in the top right-hand corner. His minimized state is getting a 10% increased movement speed from its previous setting. So it's still going to be 10% slower than his regular state. His detection range, so when he's minimized, he's going to be able to see the hunters start approaching him at 60 meters instead of 50 meters. And we're also going to see that the time it takes to find a treasure map has been reduced from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. And I'm really glad the devs are doing this. You can see that the devs are really paying a lot of attention to these B tier, C tier survivors and really trying to bring and elevate them up. Explorer's he's more of like an assassin-like sort of character, if you will. He's more of a stealth character, more of an avoidance character. That's exactly what Mind's Eye is supposed to be. That's exactly what Lawyer is literally built for as well. And you also have Explorer with his ability to really be able to avoid the hunter. I don't play Explorer on all maps. I hate Red Church with Explorer. Sorry, that's a truck. Nothing I can do about that. But he's really good on Arms Factory, Leo's Memory, Lakeside, those dark maps, really good. Ever Sleeping Town is there. There's some areas that you can use well, more so early game. And Moonlit, it's okay, but not really. Some areas are okay, but some areas are really bad on Moonlit, so there's not enough environment all the time, but you can make Moonlit work. So anyways, Explorer, I really like. I always have fun playing him. I always have fun being able to avoid and rotate the hunters very well. And I usually use Airwalk on my Explorer. I'm not saying that's the meta build for this character, but I love it. And the reason being so is that sometimes if I know the hunter's coming towards me, I do need a little bit of movement before I start crouching and hiding to get to a better spot, which is something that's really important in order to do. Do I think this is going to make him S tier? No, probably not. But what I like about this is that they're addressing it. They're looking at him and they're saying, how can we still make him better, even after they tinkered his ability to not be identified with Bloody Queen's mirrors, which happened a couple months back. For those who don't know, with Bloody Queen, especially with her meta, before that, she could expose you in your minimized state with her mirror, and thankfully the devs changed that. So I welcome this buff. I think he really needs it. It shows that the devs are really focusing on these survivors as well. That's why we're also seeing a Lawyer buff, a Coordinator buff. That's why we've seen historically a Doctor buff recently. And I welcome all those. Question is, what are we going to see with Thief anytime soon? That'd be interesting. Explorer is good on some maps, like I said, not good on other maps. Again, I don't ever like playing him on Red Church. And I think the detection range increase is absolutely necessary. And him being minimized, remember when you're minimized and you're walking, you still leave a trail, right? So you have to either running. You either have to slow walk or crouch to not provide a trail. So being minimized now with Airwalk, you're moving faster than what you were. There used to be a 20% speed reduction, which is what the buff is going to be about. So on some maps, he's going to be really, really annoying for some of these hunters to try to find him. He can buy a lot of time. He really can. On some maps, Explorer can buy a shitload of time if you, especially on Arms Factory, if you get that shack spawn and you do a really good job at hiding. If you're a hunter is pretty much, they either get lucky and they predict where you're hiding, but there's so much over there on that map that it's really difficult for them to find you. That's why I say some maps are better than others. Like when you think of Moonlit, you're like, oh, it's a big map, it's great. And it's like there's some areas where there's a lot to hide, but by working Carousel, your options are actually relatively limited sometimes, especially since the environment isn't dark or amplified with a whole bunch of grass like you see on Lakeside and etc. So anyways, I welcome this buff. I think that for character diversity, this is a good thing. I know we don't agree with all the decisions that are being tested out right now, right? We all have different opinions about Cowboy, etc. But I'm glad that they're paying attention to all of these survivors and trying to build them up, because at the end of the day, the devs had said that the last that we knew, hunters were winning more. In fact, that's why there was a big queue problem in China. I thought I explained this, but around after the mechanic nerf, etc., so many survivors were losing that they all jumped up over to hunter side. And then that's when there was this big like outcry within the Chinese community or the China server community because queue times for hunters were ridiculous. Can you imagine them being on the NAEU server as a survivor? And it was, and the devs literally said it's because survivors are losing more, etc. So ever since then, they've been really massively trying to boost up the survivors to even that playing field out a little bit. And we'll see how that works. What do you guys think about this buff? Please let me know in the comments. I love you all. You guys have a